Hey, this is Terry Funk, and this is the Awesome Wrestling Show. You guys tune in, listen, pay attention. I'm the superstar.
Produced by the Cleveland Sound Radio Network. Here is the This Is Awesome Wrestling Show, hosted by Glenn Moore and Steve Guy.
Welcome, This Is Awesome Wrestling Show fans. I'm Glenn Moore. A little bit of a different approach for this week's show. Steve is out of town for the first half of the week, and I myself am traveling through the second half of the week. So we're not going to be giving you our Raw analysis or a Hell in a Cell preview, but we are giving you a very special treat this week. The show will be mainly, well, all of it, will be our half-an-hour interview with the hardcore legend, a wrestling legend, a living god, Terry Funk. Terry Funk was in town last weekend for AIW. Had a great time talking with Terry on and off the mic. Just hanging out with him, back with the other wrestlers, watching him interact with the fans. A sold-out gymnasium for AIW, jam-packed. Lots of autographs, lots of photos taken, and a Terry Funk run-in as well. The video will be available AIWrestling.com. If you haven't checked it out, should be available shortly for purchase, but it's definitely worth the price to watch Terry Funk make his AIW appearance last Friday here in Cleveland. So we had a chance to speak with Terry, and it's not your regular run-of-the-mill This Is Awesome Wrestling Show interview. We kind of lost control of this interview with Terry Funk, as the regular with anything involving Terry Funk. This out of control. I think I ended up being interviewed for the first 10 minutes, but lots of jokes, lots of talk about Jerry Lawler, a lot of tongue-in-cheek stuff about Jerry Lawler, also about his career, the Chainsaw Charlie gimmick, the Beyond the Mat documentary, lots of things to get into with Terry Funk, to say the business, any wrestlers he enjoys watching now in WWE. So that is our conversation with Terry Funk, and we'll get to that momentarily, and that will round out the show, and I'll come back and wrap this baby up. But you can follow me on Twitter, at GlenmoreCLE. Follow Steve Guy, at TheSteveGuy. But I will be traveling to Memphis, Tennessee this weekend to watch Terry Funk take on Jerry the King Lawler, and we discussed that in the podcast interview. That is Saturday night, so you can follow along with me. I'll be taking some video, posting that in the coming weeks, kind of like making like a movie documentary type feel to it. Also, I'll be posting a lot of photos, and you can follow me on Twitter at GlenmoreCLE for photos. And then I'm traveling to LA for Hell in a Cell. I'll be at the pay-per-view, and then down to San Diego for Raw. So this weekend, lots of festivities going on for wrestling. So obviously, you being a wrestling fan should give me a follow and follow along with me. So look forward to that weekend, but looking forward to giving you this interview with Terry Funk. So we apologize for not giving you our regular Raw snarkiness when it comes to WWE, but we hope this Terry Funk interview makes it up to you. Welcome back. This is Awesome Wrestling Show. I want to welcome our guest this week, a man who has had a career over 5 decades, 63 promotions, 2-time champ. He's a Hall of Famer, WWE Hall of Famer, here in Cleveland, Ohio, Mr. Terry Funk, joining us. You
want to say 5 decades. That's not true.
No, 50 years?
It's 70 years.
Well,
70 years. I've been not in the business, but I've been around wrestling, in the business, around the business for all of my entire life.
Yeah, you're 71 years old, still wrestling.
71 years old. Sometimes I wonder what the hell I'm doing. I think I'm a damned idiot, but I just love it, and I'll continue loving it till my last breath. And hopefully, it's not in a wrestling ring. And I'm very serious about that.
Oh, I know, definitely. I mean,
yeah, I just can't. I just think it would be terrible for have all the fans out there looking at me in the ring, and Jerry Lawler going ahead and peeing on me or something.
And we had Lawler, who wrestled and then had a heart attack.
You know
couple
Jerry
hours-
Lawler, don't
Yes,
you?
yes, I do.
How do you know him? I might just have to punch you in the nose before. Go ahead. Tell me how you know Jerry Lawler.
I was doing a TV appearance, and Jerry was on the TV after me.
So did you have what? Did he make a move on you?
No, I went up to introduce myself.
He's very bad about that, making moves on you.
It's
You
turned
know,
into.
he is a pervert.
You're being interviewed by Terry Funk right now, Glenn.
He is
no.
a pervert. He is a pervert.
He is. I know.
Yes.
All the puppies talk, and
Oh, terrible, terrible. I went
he's a terrible
Yeah.
guy.
empty arena match.
Yeah,
you know.
34 years ago, you wrestling Lawler.
My daddy told me one night. My daddy was wrestling Jerry Lawler, and I said, "Daddy, can I go shake hands with Jerry Lawler?" And he said, "No." I said, "Why?" He says, "Because he's a pervert." And I said, "What's that, Daddy?" And he said, "When you get old enough, you'll find out."
Come on,
So
Lawler's
I'm
a good
serious.
guy.
He's a pervert. He's a pervert.
You
Yeah.
got a match with him next week in Tennessee.
Oh, he had that affair too with that one
Oh my goodness. We talked about it
dinner
before.
for dinner.
We talked about it before the show. Not
Dinner
gonna
for dinner. or
have any
whatever.
dirt on people,
What
but
is
it
dinner
is you.
for dinner? What's the name?
Who?
Jenner Winter.
J-
Bruce the.
Oh, Bruce Jenner.
Aha! That's what it was. Bruce Jenner. Bruce Jenner for dinner. He had a T-shirt on that said Bruce Jenner for dinner when I wrestled him in the empty arena match.
Now it's Caitlyn
He
Jenner.
came down there. He came down to the ring and entered the ring with a T-shirt on that said on the front, it says, I love Brucey Baby. I thought, Brucey Baby, Brucey. Who in the hell is Brucey Baby? Then he turned around and it went ahead and on the back of it, it had Jenner for dinner. Then I put the two of them together, Brucey Baby.
Yeah.
Jenner, Brucey Baby, Brucey, Jen.
Bruce Jenner.
You said it, I didn't. You said it about Lawler. You knew it ahead of time. You knew he
no
had that
clue.
affair because you know him. You know him that well. I know you do.
Terry, do you know that?
All right, tell me something else that you want me to know about.
Did you know that?
I'll answer you.
You know that Bruce Jenner is now a lady? You pay attention to the news that much? I feel like I just blew your mind here.
Well, I don't keep up with that kind of stuff even.
Yeah.
I would consider myself a pervert if I even kept up with that kind of stuff.
Bruce Jenner
And
is
you
now
know,
a
if
woman.
somebody keeps up with it, like, who knows what's going on and everything, I would consider them a pervert too. So you fall into
Now a
that category.
Bruce Jenner is now he's what, Caitlyn? He's a girl.
Yeah. That happened.
Yeah, I believe that he is. I'm not for certain or anything, I don't want to call him anything. I just want to call him, what he needs to be called is I'm off of it. I'm through with it.
Okay.
I'm
All
not
right.
gonna,
You
we're
brought
off
it
of
up.
it.
You brought it
You
up.
started it.
You started
started
it.
it. No, you're going to go ahead and have this all the way across the country on this show here.
Yeah.
It's going to go all the way across the country.
It will,
and
all over the
everything.
world.
Talking about Jenner and all of that. You bring it up, everything else. I am not against the guy. I love the guy. I love everybody in this world.
Yeah.
I want you to understand that you're the one that has these little fetishes and things about people. and
You brought
everything.
it up, sir.
I did not.
Yes, you did.
I did not. I did not bring it up. You brought it up.
You
said,
brought the Jenner up.
You said, we're not going to talk about it anymore.
All right, okay.
All
We're
right,
moving
Should we
move
talk
on.
about wrestling?
Move
Let's talk
on.
about wrestling. Let's talk about wrestling.
Move on. Yeah, okay.
Let's talk about wrestling. You're here in Cleveland.
You know the wrestler I hate the most?
What is it?
Jerry Lawler. Do you know that did I tell you that?
He's a pervert?
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah. I'm getting a little old.
You're getting a little old.
Yeah.
You're up there.
Up there.
So you're wrestling next week in Tennessee. You're wrestling Lawler.
Yeah, I'm wrestling.
But you're not
Lawler.
wrestling here tonight. Do you
No,
have
no.
to spread out your appearances because you're getting up there in age?
Oh, no.
Terry, do you keep track of your age? When we said you were 71, you looked a little shocked.
No, I feel 105. I think I'm 105, actually.
Do you,
You're as old as you feel, and I feel
Yeah.
105. So
How many
So I'm
times?
up at 105 now.
How many times have you retired?
I don't know. You know, as I really haven't really retired that much.
Right.
One time I was retired in Japan. It was by the promoter because he wanted me to. Over here, a lot of times, seriously, I'm being serious now,
Right.
is that I never retired other than that one time, you know, and then WCW, they put me in a match and they put the retirement rules on it, and I didn't know it.
Yeah.
That's a true story. Honest to God, truth. They said it was the loser of this match is going to retire from wrestling.
And you had no clue.
Well, they said it on the television. I had no clue of it. Right. That's true.
And the one people talk about is the one from Beyond the
I'm
Mat in the
being
movie.
serious.
In the movie Beyond the Mat, you had your match against Bret Hart, and that was retirement back in, 99, I believe it was.
Yeah.
That's like what everybody knows because it was in the movie.
Well, and that was done again, as it was done by guys that asked me, you know.
Yeah.
And they say, well, would you do this? It won't hurt you. It won't bother. You know, we would love for you to do something to make you special. How about you retire? So that's their suggestion.
So
not
they
mine.
asked you, hey, can you have a retirement match?
Can you retire again on the movie?
So they can make a buck saying
Yeah.
this is Terry Funk's
Yeah.
retirement match.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So that's part of it. Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought that was legitimate. You're going to retire, but that was because of people asking you to do it.
And then I go ahead and I retire. I do retire, and I retire, and then I go ahead and I spend all of my money, and I want to go back and wrestle some more. 'Cause
Yeah.
That's a sure way to make a buck.
Yeah.
You grew
There's
up
nothing
in
wrong with
wrestling,
Yeah.
a wrestling family.
Yeah.
You've been in multiple promotions and territories, and went all the way from being a mat technician to then getting into hardcore wrestling. Is there anything that Terry Funk would not have done in the ring?
Oh, I would have probably done most anything. One of the reasons that why did I go hardcore?
Yeah.
Basically, one of the places that I went hardcore in, and one of the first places I went hardcore in, was in Japan. And the reason why I went hardcore is because we had no television. We had no way to cross a media zone, or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
We had nothing. We had no television. We had no radio. We had nothing. All we had was the ability of what the newspapers could do for us. And they came out there because we sold papers. How did we sell papers? By being absurd, by being hardcore, by being beyond what the other stations could do on television. And what they did, they stayed in business too, because they snapped pictures of it, you know.
Right.
And would it be, just think about it a little bit. What if, you take, what would you rather see is Antonio Inoki putting a Cobra clutch on somebody, or me sticking a pitchfork up Cactus Jack's ass? You know, I mean, which would the people tune into? You
Right.
know? What would they go and see? What would they pay for?
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds, that's being very silly and very crude about it, but really and seriously that's why we went hardcore, is because we had no media.
Yeah.
We only had newspapers.
And that's
And
the shock
that was
and
only-
awe.
Yeah, and it was with the pictures that we would try to shock them, and,
Yeah.
and we did somewhat.
And that's why ECW, you were part of ECW, got over. They had this cult following because it was different than WWF, WCW.
Oh,
It was
absolutely.
very
But
extreme.
hardcore was, you got to understand that hardcore in ECW was putting in 100%.
Yeah.
That was hardcore in ECW. And believe me, it was that way in Japan too.
Yeah.
I mean, we put in 100%.
And also,
But we did, it was a lot bloodier in Japan than it was here because of the media.
yeah, TV.
Well, media was the newspapers.
Okay. They didn't want to put photos of.
Well, they put photos in what would they put in? Is an Okie and a Cobra clutch that they'd seen 100 times, or me sticking a pitchfork up Cactus Jack's butt? What would they put in it? They put me sticking a pitchfork up Cactus Jack's butt. In other words, they wanted something different than what they had been given for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Did you?
You know, I'm just making it a little
Yeah.
different.
Did you have more fun doing the hardcore from the standpoint that it was different and
No,
you
I
could bring
didn't have
something
fun
different?
doing the hardcore. It was very dangerous.
Yeah.
It was very physical, and both of us paid a price. And was shots to the head,
Yeah.
and chairs to the head, and on and on and on. And that was why did I do it? Because I could make more money in a short period of time than I could working over here for wrestling over here. In the United States for 6 months, I could go over there for 5 weeks and make the money that I did over here
Yeah.
in 6 months.
Yeah.
And I could go home and be with my wife and with my family and my kids at the time, and have a great way of life and living, you know. And believe me, but hardcore was also physical.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was your into the ring performance, and it wasn't. It's not just hitting people over the head with a chair or
Right.
something like that. And you got to understand that. And, did a lot of hardcore in ECW. That was
Right.
just tough ass wrestling, you know. And many a night as I go out there, and after they had chairs and whatever else they might have and could imagine, anything they could imagine, they would bring into the ring and be allowed to bring into the ring. And we would go out there, and me and Sabu or whoever it was, and we would go out there and have a wrestling match. A stiff son of a bitch, let me tell you, you know. It was very physical, you know, and that's how we did it back then.
So do you feel now with WBE, no head chair shots, they're really big on concussions and the symptoms and caring about the wrestler? You know?
I think it's necessary. I
Yeah.
think it's very important. But I think, but again, hardcore is you know, is you got to understand what hardcore is. Hardcore is giving 100%. That's one of the main things that are forgotten about hardcore. Hardcore is putting your ass on the line physically and doing your damnedest out there to go ahead and entertain the people to the best that you possibly can, and to take care of your opponent in the process.
Right.
Of it. You don't want to go out there. You know, there's some idiots that go out there and think hardcore is seeing how hard you can hit the guy you're wrestling.
Do you know
with
even
a
know
chair.
how many concussions you probably had that you didn't even know?
Probably a lot. I'm not sure. You know, I find a bit of a glitch at a time,
Yeah.
and I don't mean a big one or anything, but yeah, do I have, you know, do I get up and you know, I don't know, walk into the bonfire or something like that? No, I don't.
Right.
But I mean, I think that, yeah, it definitely has had a effect on me mentally.
Yeah.
And I work very hard at not having effect. I think it works hard on anybody that takes all of the chair shots.
Right.
That we did it then. We didn't know it.
So
You know,
now-
we didn't know it. Am I nuts? Yeah, I'm nuts. I'm not nuts. I'm sure I'm nuts and mad. But do I have problems? I'm a 71-year-old man.
You look in great shape. You look great for 71.
Well, a 71-year-old man. That's what I was going to say. As I'm a 71-year-old man, I got some glitches. Are they from wrestling? Are they from age? Who knows?
Right. Do you think, I mean, obviously you're very popular, sellout crowd here to come see you. Do you think that if you didn't go the hardcore route in your career that you would be here today known as?
I think I definitely would have been here
Yeah.
today. You know, I mean, the hardcore is a wrestling route too, but I mean, even the hardcore route, I think that I definitely would have been here today. I think I'm one of the best in-ring performers that there's ever been. And if I didn't say that about myself, I wouldn't be a very good wrestler. I wouldn't be a very good. I still think that I can compete with them all.
Right.
And that's because I love what I do, and I take pride in what I do, and I take pride in being good at what I do. You know, it's the same thing as a ditch digger. You know, a guy goes out there and digs a ditch and digs a good one. Well, he's a good ditch digger, you know, and he takes pride in it. I take pride the same way in my business. I take pride in having a great match. I take pride in having, you know, coming back in there, and the best thing in this world is to have my peers go ahead and come back here and shake my hand and say, what a hell of a job you did, you know. And I, in return, go to them. Whenever I see a great match, I go out there and tell them that, you know. And there's a lot of guys that are great performers in the building that we are in. There are guys on this card that are great performers.
Yeah.
There are guys that in WWE that are great performers. Are we all great performers on this card? No. No, we're not. Are they all great performers in the WWE? No, they're not. No, they're not. But some of them damn sure are. Some of them are really great, you know. And some of them I take my hat off to.
Who are some of them right now that you enjoy seeing or have noticed?
Triple H.
Yeah.
I really like Ambrose. Think he does good. There's many of them, you know. I just can't sit here and.
Yeah, but Ambrose is one that sticks out. A young guy that.
Well, Ambrose is a young guy, and he's very entertaining. Mm-hmm. You know, he's got to watch himself as far as, and I'm sure he would agree with this, is that, you know, and hell, who am I to criticize somebody? You know, I mean, I'm not going to, but he's a great in-ring performer.
Yeah.
And what he does bad, you know, he doesn't throw the greatest punches in the world, but he damn sure does a lot of other things better than anybody else.
Right.
You know, I think that's what kind of faults we find with everybody. Everybody in the business, none of us are the greatest at everything. But he's a wonderful talker too on top of that.
Yeah.
And that's Dusty Rhodes. What the hell did Dusty Rhodes do right? All he had was the dynamic elbow there. And he hit me over the head with it, and I'd flip-flop all over the ring.
Yeah.
But I loved him. You know,
yeah, he was a great talker, one of the best.
He was he talked him right into those seats.
Yeah.
Talked him into buying them. You know. Ambrose, same way. You know, as he can talk, he can do it all. He does a million things good.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm being very picky. I don't like his punches. That's the only thing that I don't like.
Well, that's the thing too, is if a guy asks you what would I do wrong and good, and sometimes say, oh, you did a great match, but you want to hear the critique. You want to hear what I need to work on, what the guy needs to work on. You want to hear that more than say, oh, good job out there.
Well, he's great.
Yeah.
I mean, he's great on promos, great in the ring, great in-ring performer, great on the bumps, great on everything that he does. I just don't like his punches. That's all.
I think he could probably live with that. Hearing that Terry Funk loves everything but his punches.
Well, that's right. He needs to go. Well, get out there, get your ass out there.
Yeah. Now, Terry, you've spanned so much time within the wrestling business, and you've seen it evolve and change from the old territories to, WWF being on television, competing with WCW, and then of course the emergence of ECW, and you were over in Japan, and now we're in this modern era where everybody can watch something online on the internet. Do you think because there's so much exposure, there's so many ways to watch wrestling and see all these promotions, that it's helped or hurt anything at all?
Do I think it's overexposed?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think the good is. I don't think the good wrestling is. I don't think it's overexposed.
Okay.
I think that people will always watch good and great stuff. Mm-hmm. I really do. What is the difference between between the two. You know, if we knew that answer, we could all draw sellouts every night.
Right.
Do you find any particular eras that you were involved in or generations that stand out in your mind that you think, well, this was perhaps the best generation or era of wrestling?
Oh, I thought my father's era was the best generation.
Yeah?
Yeah, I thought that my generation was a great generation. Why? Because back then is the wrestlers were extensions of their own personalities. It wasn't by somebody going in and saying, oh, well, this, that, or anything. They all did that. They all had wonderful, that was their personas or whatever you want to say, was extensions of their own personalities. And in this day and age I don't think that we have that.
Right.
And like I said earlier to somebody today, and it might have been you guys, I don't know. But back in, back in my earlier years, is you could go ahead and you could come into a territory and you could go ahead and say, all right, I'm here, and you could go ahead and wrestle there and say, okay, you got a 2-week notice. I'm giving you a 2-week notice to the promoter. And in 2 weeks, you go ahead and leave. Or the promoter could say to you, hey, I'm giving you a 2-week notice. You had to give a 2-week notice. And then you had to go ahead and, then you left if he gave you a 2-week notice. And it gave you some time to find some other place so you could feed your family. Well, it was a whole lot more individual then than it was now,
Yeah.
And you could go ahead and say that, and you could move on and go to another territory, and another area, and another area, and another area, and another area. You still have areas to go to.
Right.
But that's the difference between now and then. Now you've got one area where you can make a heavy living. Not really. You've got a few other places and other guys that are doing work, but not many. It's basically everything is built around one area, and that one area is we're trying to not. I'm not trying to kid anybody or not say the name, but it's the WWE.
Right.
And it's the area you want to be in.
Now, I got to ask you about Chainsaw Charlie.
All right.
When I was growing up, that's my introduction to you because I was a young guy watching early.
Yeah, that
90s.
was my idea. That was stupid.
You thought it was stupid?
Oh yeah, it
You
was
and Cassius
stupid.
Jack?
Stupidest thing that I ever did.
That was off like the chainsaw.
Vince went ahead. I went ahead and went and told Vince. I said, I got a great idea. He said, what is it? He says, I said, Chainsaw Charlie. He said, what? I said, Chainsaw Charlie. Hey, I've got, and I've got great respect for, and I'm saying this. I've been on not the opposite side of the fence. I've done things differently than most wrestlers, and that's by being an individual and going out and just kind of going on my own and making a good living doing that.
Right.
But Vince he has done a wonderful, wonderful job of making a lot of guys extremely wealthy. And he has done a wonderful job of expanding the business. He has done a wonderful job of taking over the entire thing.
He's
And I'm
sole
dead
survivor.
serious. I mean, he's the sole survivor.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking him. I'm not anything. I want, and I don't even have a but for that. I mean, there's no question of, but, this,
Yeah.
But there's no but. They are in control and they are in power and they are doing a great job of selling their product.
Yeah.
And better job than anybody else has ever done. If somebody else was better than they were, they'd be there now. And they're not.
Do you wish that you were more maybe involved now? That a lot of Ric Flair comes back, Michaels comes back. A lot of guys come back for appearances. You're in the Hall of Fame. You inducted Mick Foley, but do you wish you would come back maybe a little bit more when they would have, the old school Raws, or even a panel? There's network TV shows. They bring back old guys to talk. You wish you would do that a little bit more? They would call you to come, or do they call you?
Well, of course not.
No. Why? Well,
No.
why is that?
No.
You're a
Well, it goes back. It goes all the way back. It goes all the way back to the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. What I mean by that, it goes back to his daddy and stuff. You know, we were at opposite ends on a lot of different situations. You know,
so you still
and not anything. Am I at the opposite end? No, because I've got no choice. If I had a wonderful television station somewhere and something else, I might be at opposite ends with him.
Yeah.
But I don't.
Yeah.
You know, nor do I want one.
But
you
he
know.
still carries that. He still. I mean, the reason why you're not, coming back on Raw or part of network shows or being, featured a little bit more because of your history is because of what happened in the past.
Well, maybe it was. No, I don't think that not what happened to him.
Yeah.
I think it's more me than him.
Yeah.
And it's just I hate to lose. I hate to lose.
Yeah.
And that's bitter to me.
But even like for
And
TV,
and my father hated to lose.
yeah.
And my brother hated to lose. Not a wrestling match. Don't misunderstand
Yeah, I was gonna say
me.
you've
We're
always
talking about losing in life,
you've
Yeah.
always competed with
and
Vince.
I don't want to lose in life.
Yeah.
And if you want to really talk about it, is he somewhat kicked me in the ass? And all of the other promoters in the country, not just I,
Yeah.
but many of them. And that's not been bad whenever I say it. And it's a feather in his hat.
Yeah.
But it was a kick in my ass and a feather in his hat.
Yeah.
You know, and he probably never thought of it that way. But I thought of it that way, if that makes any sense to you.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, between your father's promotion and ECWs and WCW and your brother, when you would go to WWF to work, or WWE now, to go work for Vince, knowing that everything you were part of, he was kind of consuming and eating up, was there a little bit of you that was, I don't know, like had some mixed emotions in doing that then?
Well, not, as I went up there. Yeah, well, evidently I did, because I went in and got out of there,
Yeah.
Evidently, it had some effect on me as I went ahead and I left up there. I wouldn't have, I really respect the guy and his ability, but I want to be my own guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to be my own guy, and I've been able to do very well and be very, prosperous, and that's been what my life's about, and I've been very happy because I live in the area that I do. I live in Texas. I've got a wonderful family there, a wonderful piece of land, and everything's paid for, and I've got plenty of money in the bank to last for me, and what the hell else do I need?
Are there any funks currently involved in wrestling besides yourself?
My brother, he's got the school down there,
Right, okay.
And am I involved? I don't even look at it as if I am involved. I'm really not.
Well, you're here today. This
I'm here
is
today.
involvement.
I'm here today, and probably, I'm an old fart. I'm an old fart.
An old funker.
An old stinker.
Now you are one of the early guys that would be, wrestling, but also dip into acting.
That's what I was going to say. This was
Yeah.
my introduction
Yeah.
to Terry Funk as a
Way
kid.
before everybody else.
Yeah.
You were in my intro to Terry
Well-
Funk was two of my favorite movies growing up, Over the Top and Roadhouse.
Yeah, I was, as I went on and continued on, did a TV series with Meg Ryan and and some other people, and did a hell of a lot of commercials and did other TV shows and movies. And I went ahead and did enough in 20 years to get I get a wonderful check every month from SAG.
Yeah.
So I'm a retired artiste, you know. And I worked hard at it for 20 years.
Yeah.
People don't realize that, Did a couple of series, did it all.
Yeah, you were all over the place.
Did it all.
So how does that compare?
Not many other wrestlers have done it all.
No, and not many have tried but haven't succeeded like you to get a check every month even now.
No.
Guys try and they fail and they realize they can't do it.
Why did I do it? Why did I do it?
Why did you go into acting? How'd that come
Why
up?
did I do it? Because nobody had any insurance at the time.
Yeah.
And I discovered if I would go ahead and go work and make so much money a year that me and my family would be covered completely and entirely with insurance on all of us. And that's why I did it.
And you were good.
That's why, but I went year after year after year after year.
Yeah.
Finally, I looked at it, my God, I only got 2 years to go, or 3 years. So I went ahead and worked on through it and got my retirement in. But first of all, it was for medical, for my family, and because of the expense of it. And I'll tell you what, that's just like guys in the world of wrestling today. They've got to look at their families and what they're doing. They need to go ahead and get a job besides what they have, where they can go ahead and have a bit of retirement or have a bit of hospitalization, have a bit of insurance. Our guys, they never do that, and that's deadly.
Yeah.
Deadly. Not to have anything is it can just destroy your entire marriage, destroy your entire life.
Terry, we'd love to talk to you more, but you have to get ready for your.
No, I don't
your
want to go.
appearance.
No, I don't want to quit.
You don't want to go? You want to quit? You can
No.
come back after your appearance.
No, that's all right. I'll just go ahead and head out the front door. We'll see you guys later.
All right, thanks, Terry. Interview with Terry Funk right here. This is Awesome Wrestling Show. Had a great time speaking with him throughout the night last Friday here in Cleveland at AIW. Great appearance coming out, and like I said, wonderful time hanging out with him. Not only for the podcast, but also behind the scenes. A man who led most of the locker room in a sing along. I post that on YouTube, and it's just a fun guy. Ended up closing a bar in Brook Park down with Terry Funk. So and Nunzio as well. Me, John Thorne, a couple other people, and then Nunzio and Terry Funk in Brook Park. Just closing down a regular. I have no clue where we were at, but somewhere in Brook Park. I promise it wasn't a strip club either. All right, we'll see you guys next week. Hope you enjoyed the interview. We will have Gregory Iron Part 2, Blue Pants Part 2. I think we'll post the Gregory Iron Part 2 interview next week. And I think it will be the same format. I do not get back to Cleveland until next Friday. So I assume next week's podcast will be a short introduction to the interview itself, and then a closing. So we will probably do a Hell in a Cell recap the following week and post Blue Pants interview Part 2 that week as well. Make sure to check out AI Wrestling, AIWrestling.com. AIW here in Cleveland for great independent wrestling. They posted a great indie wrestling AIW promotion video with Terry Funk talking about the business, indie business. Lots of great clips from AIW stars. So make sure to check that out. It's all over the internet. JR, Jim Ross, has some nice words about it. So make sure to check out AIW and their whole YouTube page. But go to the website as well. It's on their website. The links are on the website as well. So make sure to follow us on Twitter at TIA Wrestling. Me, Glenmore CLE, the Steve Guy. And we'll see you guys next week with Gregory Iron Part 2. And we really, really hope you enjoyed Terry Funk this week for the interview. And if you did, make sure to go on iTunes, rate, subscribe, leave a comment for us. We really appreciate it. Helps us with our iTunes rankings. Had a lot of old past interviews getting some pub on iTunes. We can see what's been downloading popularity-wise, and a lot of our past interviews. Jerry the King Lawler, some EC3, Sasha Banks still gets a lot of play. So we appreciate you guys listening, and we would really, really appreciate if you guys give us some love on iTunes with giving us a comment, rating us, and subscribing as well, so you can be updated whenever we post a show. So we'll see you guys next week. Stay awesome.